Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to News Today. We are coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on DTT because we're free to air on the STV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. This afternoon, 3-member committee completes fact-finding mission on circumstances leading to the Apiati explosion as Sector Minister Samuel Ebujinapo promises to execute recommendations to the latter. Also this afternoon, experts worried about government's decision to restore price stabilization and recovery levies on petrol, diesel and LPG effective today. We have more as they warn this could be burdensome on the consumer. Plus, as Parliament resumed sitting this morning, some residents of Walewale have waded into the e-levy controversy, warning that passage of the bill will inure to the benefits of armed robbers who are always on the lookout for market women in particular, who will return to carrying fiscal cash on them. We'll take you live to Parliament for an update and also get an expert view of how the conversation should be in Parliament. We also have business, sports, world news, and the latest in showbiz. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Remember, we're streaming live on YouTube and all our social media handles at Joy News on TV. Tweet at us with the hashtag News Today. My personal handle is @Danana Aisha. The Instagram handle is Aisha Joy News. Subscribe to my YouTube account at Aisha-TV. Please stay for details. Many thanks for choosing us. Lands and Natural Resources Minister says his outfit will ensure that whoever was culpable in the Apiati explosion will be punished. Earlier today, Benjamin I Committee handed over its findings to the Sector Minister. In a brief remark, the chairperson of the committee provided details of the scope. No, Lands and Natural Resources Minister Ebujinapo says his interest is in ensuring that the recommendations of the committee are implemented to the latter. We'll try and get you those sounds shortly, but energy think tank, the Kumasi Institute for Technology, Energy and Environment, KITE, is worried about government's decision to restore the price stabilization and recovery levies on petroleum products. Executive Director of the Institute, Ishmael Ejekumhene, says consumers should equally be worried about the resultant increases on fuel prices because it will certainly affect their livelihood. As of this morning, the National Petroleum Authority in a press statement indicated its resolve to restore the levies. Prices of petroleum products have seen automatic upward adjustments across the board at the pumps. Some drivers are not taking kindly to the new increases. They want government to reconsider its decision.
Fuel is true. The fuel, you see, I'm using motorbike, and the first time when I buy 5 cedis, I can take it home. And bring it back. But now, 10 cedis, I won't reach anywhere. The fuel, it will finish. Just right now, I buy only 50 cedis before coming here. So, but the fuel is too expensive now. This month alone, they have increased like 3 times in the fuel. We are begging the government. We must watch this. We are suffering. Please, 10 cedis. At the first time, but right now 20 Ghana. Right now 20 Ghana.
At times you can feel come job, you know, get money. So at times if you buy 10 cedi, if the price is normal, you can feel ready to go house. But right now they increase the petrol. If you buy 10 cedi, no will take you go house. So we are feeling this thing.
How much fuel have you bought today?
I think if I won't go Medina, I have to buy 30 Ghana. Something like Medina, I have to buy 30 Ghana. At times I buy 15 cedis. If I buy 15 cedis, it will take me to Medina or Ashama. But right now I have to buy 30 Ghana.
What can I say? Say we should board no so I hold your board no so. And as a Ghanaian, I'm not thinking about myself. Midday said you whom name and meet me at all. But farmers na aye duane go villages no. And on my coffee nu ane ni ade aba no. On be de duane na ba drivers na be de.
Me catch abani say be panicho no ondu ehun wo man no man mu ayedin dodo na fuel no mu to so dodo there say na ya na passenger for no mu so na omo so fasa
me say abani want petrol no so mine because they say taxi am fro omo say ne board nti omo fro taxi nti bi a trotro na no be fro na omo anye sa de na yeso e ho be
Ishmael Ejakumhene is an energy expert. He says the consumers have cause for concern. He spoke on News Desk with my colleague Mapito Sibidi.
16 pesos, 14 pesos addition to what you pay per liter, addition to what you pay at the pump, apart from any other adjustments that may be coming from as a result of movements in the world market and exchange rate. So it's going to be an upward adjustment. I mean, it's just restoring to where we used to be before they decided to take those levies off for the 2-month period. Every consumer, including myself, would want to pay a lower price as much as possible. What I also know is that whenever any one of them is dropped, there's going to be a price to be paid by all of us. I mean, we were told that for the 2 months that the PSRF was suspended, it was like 50 million cedis a month. So that translates to over 100 million cedis over the two months that it was suspended. So yes, we can advocate for removal of all levies and taxes, but there are consequences. For example, we were told in the MPA letter that the PSRL is actually specifically meant to subsidize premixed fuel and also the residual fuel oil. So what it means is that if it's not paid, government will have to find money somewhere to pay for those subsidies. So yes, I would want to pay less, but for any of the levies that has earmarked and dedicated to a particular purpose, if it's taken off, then it means government will have to find money to be paying and for the levy to be doing what it's doing. So I want to pay less, and I'm always happy to fight the levies go back under the circumstances. I don't know what the government options are.
We have more on this for you shortly, but now Lands and Natural Resources Minister says this outfit will ensure that whoever was culpable in the Piazza explosion will be punished. Earlier today, the Benjamin I Committee handed over its findings to the sector minister. In a brief remark, the chairperson of the committee provided details of the scope of work.
Following the incident, as we've been told, the Minerals Commission rightfully did the initial investigation and submitted a preliminary report to the Honorable Minister. But given the national importance and interest in the incident, the Honorable Minister decided to set up our committee to independently investigate the occurrence, to corroborate, verify, or otherwise establish what led to the happenings at Apieti, and to enable us forge the way forward on solid basis. I must say that the committee was to submit our report on Thursday, the 27th of January, as directed by the minister. We've taken a bit more time than was required of us because we wanted to do a good job. We have dispassionately looked at the facts that were presented to us, which we were able to unearth, and objectively we have put together the facts to the extent we could establish them. And on the basis of these, we have presented our findings, and then some recommendations were made. We were able to, over the period, visit the relevant stakeholders. We were able to talk to witnesses to the various incidents, and through the interviews and our observations, we've come up with this report we are going to present this morning. I just need to highlight that we're able to visit the relevant police stations, talk to the commanders, looked at the log records, talked to the police escort assigned for the assignment. We're able to visit Maxam at Iduaprim, talk to the dispatchers and the management as well. We had interviews with the transporter, the explosives driver, the escort driver, the management of Maxam, and also the transporter. We talked to a number of eyewitnesses in the community itself, starting from the chief through a number of others who even helped to convey the injured and so on to the hospitals And at the end of it all, we have come up with this report, which we believe fairly represents the facts of the case. However, let me emphasize that we will not preempt what the minister will decide.
Well, Lands and Natural Resources Minister Abuji Napo says his interest is ensuring that the recommendations of the committee are implemented to the latter.
What I have been interested in as the minister responsible for lands and natural resources, and for that matter mining, is whether or not the regulatory regime of mining as it relates to explosives was adhered to or not. And if the regulatory dictates were not respected, what are the consequences? That was exactly the restricted remit of the IE committee. And I think it's important that I emphasize on that. He himself has mentioned it, that the main legislative or regulatory law which guided their work was LI 2177. I'm, as minister, interested in the mining component of this incident and whether or not the protocols, the laws, the regulations of mining were adhered to or not. And I'm very happy that they have done this work and they've presented this report. And I believe that the report will guide us as to the next steps we should take. We should be able to review this report as soon as possible, almost immediately, and be able to come to a firm conclusion as to what are the necessary steps we have to take. I think it's important that as a people, when incidents like this occur, we establish the fact dispassionately. All the questions which Ghanaians have asked, which many people have asked, which pundits have asked, those questions should be answered to the best of our ability and as fairly and as objectively as we can, anchored on integrity. And I have no doubt that the work Mr. Aye and his colleagues have done is exactly in accordance with this same attitude and this same spirit. And by and large, hopefully, we should be able to move forward given the presentation of this report. So let me once again thank you, Mr. Aye, and your colleagues, and to conclude by assuring the country that the President is fully committed to ensuring that whoever is found culpable, whoever is found to have breached any rule or committed any wrong in this matter will be made to feel.
We can now go back to our earlier story on increase in fuel prices, which experts are worried. I've been joined right now by Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amo. I'm grateful for your time. I mean, what does this mean that the NPA says it's introducing those levies that it took off already? It's introducing it again. What does this mean for the consumer?
Aisha, what it means in simple terms is that your fuel prices will go up by that margin. 16 pesos for petrol, 14 for diesel, 14 for LPG. We think this is very insensitive and badly timed. Insensitive to the extent that you have, for the first time in 28 years, where crude prices have crossed $90. Mostly in January, crude prices decelerate or decline. You see prices drop. Around this time, because of tensions between Russia, Ukraine, and also undersupply by the OPEC bloc, there's a lot of pressure on crude. Prices are going up already. We complained a lot. The driver unions complained a lot, following which the President of the Republic gave a directive that the stabilization and recovery levy, one of the 4 or 5 levies that we had all requested to be reviewed, should be zeroed. The thinking would have been that we would wait for prices to ease a bit, so that even when we decide to add it at...
Hello, Duncan Amo.
Hello, Aisha.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. So if we decide, it would not cause much of a mishap. Unfortunately, at the time prices are going up on the international market with a likely effect increase stabilization or reintroduce it. And we are saying that that cannot be allowed to continue. Stabilization recovery levy, when it was passed, was meant to create a buffer fund so that when prices go up in times like we've seen, there will be a fund readily available for government to fall on in order to be able to cushion Ghanaians. Last year, when prices were high, we asked for the fund to be used. They said there was no money. And so when the president directed that it should be zeroed, it was happy news. Unfortunately, without waiting for prices to go down and prices at the local pumps crossing 7 cities, we are introducing another 16 pesos to be collected at the pumps. We insist that the finance ministry should take a second look at this and ensure that the right things are done. The right things being done should be that if the finance ministry and the NPA believes that we need a certain levy to cushion, premix and RF, go back to Parliament with the appropriate legislation and request for 3 pesos or 6 pesos, so that we know that, oh, we are paying 6 pesos to help the premix sector and, for that matter, the RFO business. But if you continue to charge us this deceitful stabilization and recovery levy of 16 pesos, whereas you are not stabilizing anything because of deregulation, there are no under recoveries that are paying BDCs because of the same deregulation. If you continue to apply and slap 16 pesos, when prices at the pumps have already crossed 70.
We're having a bit of a connection challenge with Duncan Amwa's line, but he makes a very critical point that this would be burdensome on the consumer, and he wants government to actually do something about it. But some residents of Walewale in the northeast region are calling on the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, to stop the passage of the e-levy. According to them, the passage of the levy will have adverse implications, including the collapse of their businesses and other sources of livelihood, which they say are already suffering as a result of COVID-19 and high cost of basic goods and services. The residents also claim that the introduction of the levy will inure to the advantage of armed robbers operating in the area, as market women who may attempt to evade payment of the levy could revert to the cash system. Now, the residents are pleading with the Vice President to consider the plight of his people back home and ensure the bill is reversed.
In Walewale, just like most parts of rural Ghana, many of the people do not have access to banking services as well as financial literacy. To add this to the problem is the issue of the rampant activities of armed criminals who take advantage of the financial inclusion gap to target most especially market women and small business owners. The introduction of mobile money services, however, provided the people with a secure way to safeguard their capital and investment from these criminal gangs, as they no longer carry huge amounts in cash on market trips. Now, with the ongoing controversy over whether or not to pass the electronic transaction levy, which foresees an additional 1.75% tax on mobile money payment, bank transfer, and other electronic transactions, residents of Walewale have been raising their concerns. Among them, a former Northern Regional Minister and a 2020 parliamentary candidate of the NDC for the Walewale constituency, Mr. Abdallah Abakar.
I would want to send a very important word to my elder brother, His Excellency the Vice President, that his constituency, the Walewale constituency, is one of the constituencies that is most hit by armed robbers on the periodic market days, when market women travel all the way from the villages to Walewale or Walewale back to the villages for market, like Pargo market, the Bulbia market, the Janga market, the Du market. They are periodically and rampantly subjected to street armed robbery, where they lose their capital. The only safe haven for these women, my brother, the Vice President, is that they've always been able to elude the armed robbers by putting the money in their wallet, Momo wallet, and withdrawing them at the market centers, conducting their businesses, and whatever money they also gain at the market centers are put in the wallet. So even if the phone is seized, by the way, home by the armed robber, you are still able to retrieve that money. So if the policy is good for everybody in Ghana, I would want to remind my big brother, the vice president, that that tax is not good for his people in the Walewale area, and then let him consider the plight of his people back home.
According to him, the attempts to impose such a levy abundantly exposes the desperation of an incompetent and a failing government.
Nobody will tell you that this government is desperate because they have mismanaged the economy, and their performance in managing the economy is so abysmal and appalling that they've decided to look everywhere for any money. So even at the moment, there is no longer discrimination as to what kind of money the government wants to mobilize. And for me, and my opinion on this matter is that, look, it is not a good tax. Government should reconsider and consider the plight of the already suffering Ghanaians.
This man, Hamidu Abakari, a fridge technician in Walewale, says the levy will adversely affect his business as well as put pressure on his little income.
The e-levy there, we don't want it today, we don't want it tomorrow. From A to Z, we are against it. The vice president should come out and speak on the e-levy. We want him and we are begging him. He should come out and tell the majority that this go it.
Mohammed Rabiu, a civil servant, thinks the levy is regressive and should not be passed.
E-levy is not the policy of Ghana problem. Are they telling us that when they pass e-levy next year, they will not look for more other taxes to add? If e-levy was the way forward, then why did they even increase percent to about 15%? All other taxes has been increased by 15%. So I think that it is only they are finding the cheapest and the easiest way. And they have been saying it, we didn't even say it. My own brother, our senior brother, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawe, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, he himself said that it is not good for us to tax Momo. So are we now saying that all that he has been telling us was imposing that?
This 50-year-old commercial tricycle driver is also kicking against the passage of the levy. Several other people interviewed here for this story have also expressed outright rejection of the levy and urged the government to end the needless trade-off with a minority in parliament by withdrawing the bill forthwith. Reporting for Joy News, Ilyasu Tanko, Walewale.
Back here in Accra, Parliament has resumed sitting today. It is expected that a debate on e-levy will reflect on the other paper. The Speaker will not be in the chamber. He's currently receiving treatment in Dubai. He's due to return in early March. Parliamentary correspondent Kwesi Parker Wilson joins us live with update of today's business on the floor of the House. Parker, has business begun on the floor already? And is the e-levy on the other paper?
I must say that the e-levy is not on the order paper for today's business, being Tuesday, the 1st of February 2022. Parliament, just about 20 minutes ago, began sitting for the day. Now, the minority leader, Harun Adrisu, just a while ago, raised concerns over the absence of the e-levy on the order paper. Now, his point was quite simple. That last week Friday, at the time Parliament was adjourning, the majority leader stated clearly that on Tuesday, which is today, the House was going to debate the policy of the e-levy. And so he's surprised that the levy hasn't been captured on the order paper. For him and his side, they don't want any surprises. And so he wants the majority leader to state explicitly when the House would debate the e-levy, and that for the minority, they will stand with the people of this country to reject the e-levy anytime it comes before the House. But the majority leader was quick to say that, well, it is true that we were supposed to take it today, but if you look at the provisional order paper for tomorrow, it's been advertised in there. But that is not to say that tomorrow they are going to take the e-levy. He's doing some consultation, and he will come to a determination with the minority leader on when the House will take the e-levy. So for now, it is not clear when the House is going to debate the e-levy, whether this week or even tomorrow. The majority leader himself is not clear on that. But he also insisted that the majority side will stand with the Republic of Ghana to ensure that the e-levy is approved. The minority is claiming that they are standing with the people. The majority is standing with the Republic. and that threw the House into some kind of laptop and heckling here and there. So if you ask me about the e-levy, just as the latest update on the e-levy with regards to parliamentary business.
So as we wait for the document to come back on the table, I mean, definitely, if it doesn't come today, it will definitely come on. What has been the posture of the MPs from both sides? Has it changed from what we knew from the last time?
Aisha, the minority is clear in its mind that this e-levy in its current form, at any given time when the majority presents the levy to the House, they, the minority, will oppose it and vote against it outright without any reservation. All 137 MPs will vote against the e-levy, and their position hasn't changed. As against the majority, they are also insisting that since they are standing with the Republic of Ghana, since they want to ensure that the economy is not collapsed, they will also vote in favor of the e-levy. So the two are still maintaining their standpoint. The only thing here is that the first deputy speaker, who is a member of the majority caucus, is now holding the fort for the Speaker of Parliament, Aban Babe. Aban has traveled for medical review, and so until he returns, it is Joseph Osewusu who will be in the chair. Ahmed Ibrahim is the minority chief. Let me just engage him quickly. Honorable, quickly, you are on live on Joy News. The e-levy, has the position changed? This is the new week. Has it changed?
The e-levy our position has not changed because the mismanagement of the economy has not changed. So long as the e-levy, when we don't pass when we don't approve the e-levy. So long as Ken Okorata is still the finance minister, I don't see the reason why we should be overtaxing Ghanaians and keep it in. What he has mismanaged, he needs to account for it before we can add more. That's what I see. So if he can't dismiss as the finance minister, was it so longer? It should have gone long time. When Milo was going, Ken should have followed.
I see. So why should he have followed?
We gave you a middle-income economy. You yourself, you are thinking that you brought it to a highly risk-distressed country. And that if care is not taken, Standard & Poor's are going to give you 3. From B+ to B negative to 3. And you think you should still be there. From 3, why are you taking us? You yourself saying that if the e-levy is not passed, there will be economic disaster in this country.
That's correct.
It's a confirmation that there's economic disaster. Well, we gave you an economy without e-levy. If you are saying the current Ghana's economy without e-levy and economic disaster, who has brought us there? It's you.
So that should show you.
It's an admission of failure. Clear admission of failure. And I don't know what P1 and Adu is sitting there doing. Because the father is your cousin. If he manages the country and you cannot reshuffle him, you wait. Ghanaians will reshuffle you yourself.
Thank you very much. So Aisha, that's the Deputy Minority Chief Whip, Ahmed Ibrahim, there for you, indicating the standpoint of the minority. They still remain opposed, but also asking the president to dismiss the finance minister from mismanaging the economy.
Walewale Singh is our man in Parliament. We definitely will update you on updates on happenings in that house. We can now speak with Dr. Rashid Dramani, who is Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. I'm grateful for your time this afternoon, sir. You have already called for consensus, yet that hasn't happened. It does look like we are yet to see the worst with the passage of the e-levy as the Speaker takes a break for 1 month and the minority warning they will not tolerate any untoward behavior from any Deputy Speaker. Are you worried about this current situation?
Yes, Aisha, very, very worried. I think the only way that the e-levy will see the light of day is if we have the Right Honourable Speaker Alban Bakbe in the chair. That's the first condition. The second condition is if the majority side is able to rally all its members, because we are hearing, on your platform as well as other platforms, that they cannot find some of their members, which means that, assuming that they cannot even find one person, even if the Right Honourable Speaker Bakbe is in the chair, then it's going to be 137, and the bill will be defeated. Now, that takes us to the discussion about, consensus and dialogue that we've been talking about right from the beginning. Parliament is master of its own rules, and on many occasions we've seen bills passed with a house that is not full. So if there was dialogue, there was understanding, and there was some sense of working together, we could have a situation where maybe the house would have a quorum, but not necessarily a full house. And business can go on, and perhaps through a voice vote, this bill pass very quietly without any drama. But the way things stand right now, and you heard the minority leader, and then you heard the deputy minority whip, it looks like they are still standing by their position that they are against the e-levy in any form or shape. I believe even if the percentage is reduced, they are still going to vote against it. And currently, the majority doesn't have the numbers to counter them. So we are really in trouble, Aisha, and I can foresee maybe some of what happened in December happening again. It will be very, very unfortunate.
I'm grateful for your time, Dr. Rashid Rahman. He's the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Meanwhile, the NPP, a governing NPP, says Assin North MP James Jachikwesin cannot continue to perform parliamentary duties. Director of Elections Evans Nemako says the judicial process will be used to stop the MP from attending Parliament. An appeal has since been lodged at the Court of Appeal and remains outstanding. Court correspondent Joseph Akable has been speaking to the NPP Director of Elections, Evans Nemako.
Very much for having us. The party at this stage has instituted a case at the Supreme Court for an interpretation of Article 94 2A. Because we've realized that going to court at the High Court in Cape Coast and Court of Appeal also in Cape Coast, the lawyer for the NDC MP for Assin North has been raising the issue of interpretation. Today, we are at the Supreme Court to seek interpretation of Article 94 2A. In addition to this, we are also asking the court to injunct the gentleman not to hold himself. As we are aware, the High Court of Cape Coast has already given judgment and has given orders to the Electoral Commission to conduct fresh elections in view of the fact that the gentleman was not qualified when he applied to contest on the ticket of.
I mean, there are some who make the case that you are just seeking to reduce the NDC's numbers in Parliament, especially at this time.
We're still live on Joy News Today. We'll take a break and we'll return. We'll bring you the very latest from the business world.
Hi there, time for business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Mobile money transactions for last year outstripped checks by a massive 770.4 billion cedis. That's according to data from the Bank of Ghana. Charles Nixon Yabua has more.
Mobile money continued to remain the biggest payment solution in the country, with an estimated 905.1 billion cedis transactions recorded in 2021. Check transactions stood at 134.7 billion cedis during the period. This indicates that many customers, particularly retail consumers, now prefer mobile money as the easiest form of banking transactions because of its accessibility and reliability. Significantly, mobile money transactions in 2021 shot up compared to the previous year. The month with the biggest transaction was July, in which 99 billion cedis was recorded. Increasingly, mobile money transactions is relegating check transactions to the background, with many consumers now prefer walking to a mobile money vendor to deposit or transfer money into his or her wallet. Banks will therefore have to dig deep to innovate and come out with solutions similarly to that of mobile money in order to compete. Alternatively, they could partner the telecom firms to take advantage of the fast-growing market. Already, the Bank of Ghana has been piloting its digital currency, the ECD, a move which is expected to be launched sooner to boost the cash light agenda.
The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, has assured all workers and residents of Wassa that government will work with Shifeng Geelong Gold Mining Limited to ensure that the rights of all employees are protected. At the same time, when necessary, appropriate severance packages would be paid in accordance with the laws of the country and the existing collective bargaining agreements. Speaking during the handing over of the Wassa mine from Golden Star Resources to Shifeng, the sector minister said the Chinese mining firm has agreed to respect and honor all existing contracts of Golden Star Resources. There's more in this report.
Part of the conditions for taking over the mine, Shifeng has agreed to respect and honor all existing contracts of Golden Star Resources, including employment contracts and collective bargaining agreements entered into with employees of the mine. Let me assure the workers and the good people of Wassa that government will work with the Shifeng company to ensure that the rights of all employees are protected and where necessary, appropriate severance packages are paid in accordance with the laws. In accordance with Regulation 13 of the Minerals and Mining, Local Content and Local Participation Regulations 2020, LI 2431, and pursuant to the vision of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to ensure that our mineral resources are utilized for the benefit of the good people of Ghana, government has charged Shifeng Geelong to list on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
The Wassa mine, which covers a total surface area of approximately 52.89 square kilometers, has been in operation for many years. Originally operated as a small-scale mining site until Satellite Goldfields Limited acquired it in 1993 before transferring their interest to Golden Star Resources in 2002. As at the end of the year 2020, Golden Star Resources had produced about 2.4 million ounces of gold since its acquisition. Managing Director of Golden Star Resources Wassa Mine, Shadrach Ajetesoa, in his welcome address, highlighted on the importance
of ownership to support our sustainability and growth. We are gathered here today to witness this special day, which brings with it good memories of the impactful journey we have embarked on with Golden Star Resources family.
All right, there's more business news coming up at the top of the hour on the marketplace. Up next, sports.
We do sports now on Joy News today. I am Muftau Nabila Ablai, former Chief Executive Office, humiliating one. The Black Stars exited the tournament at the group stage, picking 1 point in a group which had Morocco, Gabon, and Comoros. Herbert wants the GFA to accept responsibility for letting Ghanaians down.
Get on to who should coach next, what should we do, removing the Black Stars Management Committee. Just swallow a bit of humility. That's the least you can do for the guy who's walking around taking 80 cedis in a month, doesn't know how he's going to live tomorrow, and he's living for the game we love, which is football. Yes, we don't love anything else in Ghana. It's football we love. And their pain, their humiliation. Maybe Nigeria going out, we're laughing that Nigeria went out, but hey, they reached the last 16, and we did not do that. So if I have an appeal to make, is that look, the powers that be, don't be sensitive. Just understand that you let us down. It's the taxpayers' money, it's not your money. You let us down. There's a point of humiliation, that you let us down. Those of us who travel the world, we see Ghanaians in industry, in business, in politics outside, in the sporting world, and our image is lifted because somebody is doing well. Now you see it on CNN and everything else as a little clip.
The musician Sifa at the weekend hosted one of the biggest music concerts in the capital of the Volta region. The event, dubbed the Homecoming 22, saw performances from big names such as Edem, Kofi Kenata, D-Black, and others, thrilling patrons with timeless hits. Here is what you've missed.
And I did it. Like, I just want to say a big thank you to my whole family for being out and coming out for me. I just love them so much for all the support.
Now we know they feel the energy. Now she go also. One more time. Cause this love. This year. Okay. We know come to play. Team I made a friend. Send it with that. Send it. Palmer. Our brother Palmer. He's a Palmer. Hey.
No, this is not my first time for Ho, but today will be crazy. But I'm cool.
I've been here, once. Okay. Yeah, it was Adam's show. I don't know whether it was here or Sogakope, I don't know. Okay. But I think this is my first time here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does it feel? They're singing your song back to back.
Yeah.
And when people they sing song back to back.
Yeah, but we they sing our songs back.
Which one?
I bear them songs, we they sing them back to back. Yeah, so this time around there, we all did. Yeah.
Let's go. Everything we turn up.
And that's how we wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Up next is Marketplace. Enjoy the rest of our programs.